So I'm going to talk about Sing today. Now, this movie doesn't come out in the US until December 21st. However, AMC was doing some advanced screenings of it, and I was actually able to get into one. So, because the movie won't be out for a little while longer, I'm going to stick mostly to the point, and I'm going to avoid as many spoilers as possible. So Sing is brought to us by Illumination, the company that unleashed the minions upon the world. And they need to remind us of that at the beginning of every single one of their movies. This is also Illumination's second animated movie this year, and that seems to be the trend this year, that a lot of studios are releasing multiple animated movies, because Illumination had 2, DreamWorks had 2, Disney had 3 if you count Pixar. So, man, there's been a lot of animators working overtime. Boy, I sure hope they're getting paid well. So the movie takes place in not Zootopia, where a koala named Buster is trying to save his theater, so he holds a talent competition where everyone in town can enter. And right away, I gotta give the movie credit for having a great ensemble cast. Buster is voiced by Matthew McConaughey. Alright. The pig mom from the trailer is voiced by Reese Witherspoon, and Seth MacFarlane lends his golden pipes to a crooner mouse named Mike. By the way, Mike Mouse, Mikey Mouse, Mickey Mouse? I wonder if that was intentional. Tori Kelly voices Mina, an elephant who has stage fright, and Scarlett Johansson voices Ash, the rock and roll porcupine girl. And then there's Johnny the gorilla, voiced by Taron Egerton, who most people would know as Eggsy from the movie Kingsman. And it's funny because Johnny has problems with his dad in this movie, and all I can think of is, wow, that poor kid is just constantly having trouble with his dad. So honestly, I was kind of expecting to hate this movie because I've said many times before, I'm not into musicals. I really don't care for musicals that much. And just judging by the trailer for this movie, it did seem like it was going to be another musical. But it really wasn't. It was more of a celebration of music from all eras and genres. And considering how a lot of movies will just throw in a modern pop song or just some nostalgic thing just to get people interested, I really appreciated that. And there was a lot of variety in this movie, because they had pop music, of course, but they also had rock and roll. They did a few nods to hip-hop, a lot of old-fashioned stuff like opera and crooning. There was a really funny running gag involving J-pop, which I thought was great. But what really made this movie work for me was the characters, because not a single person in this movie was useless or unlikable. Everybody had a certain level of likability to them, and everyone had a purpose. And that was the problem I had with a lot of other movies this year, like Trolls and Storks, because they would introduce these dumb characters that were just completely pointless, and they just had no purpose in the movie. But this movie didn't have anyone like that. And I think all the characters had some relatability to them, like Rosita, who was a mom to like 20-something children, and all she wanted to do with her life is perform. And then you had Johnny, who wanted to be a singer, but his dad wanted him to be a part of his criminal group. And honestly, like throughout the whole thing, I was waiting for him to accidentally call Johnny Eggsy. Watch Kingsman, it's great. Ash was trying to prove herself to her jerk ex-boyfriend. Mina was trying to get over her stage fright. Even Buster was a very likable character, and he did a lot of things that were not so great, but you kind of saw where he was coming from, and it didn't necessarily mean he was a bad person, because he was doing what he did because he just loved the theater. And in a way, you're still kind of rooting for him. One of the weird things to me about this movie, though, was remember when I reviewed Zootopia and I asked, like, what do the animals in this world eat? Because you have herbivores and carnivores, and the carnivores need to eat meat. And a lot of people said that the creators said that everyone in Zootopia eats insects, which I guess makes sense. I asked that same question with this world because there are a lot of different animals that are sentient, I guess, in this world, because they had At the very beginning, there was a whale that swam by in a river and he had a top hat on. There was like spiders and snails and things that were auditioning, And there was a restaurant in this movie where they had, you know, a fish tank, and there was squid swimming around there, and apparently they were employees too. So I do have to ask again the question, what do people in this world eat? Everyone can't be a vegetarian. Somebody's got to be eating somebody. They had a character who was a chicken in this movie, so something's going on in this world. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but it just, stuff like that just kind of bothers me. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending to this movie was kind of predictable. Let me put it to you this way, without giving away too much. If you've seen the Muppets, then you can kind of see where this is all going to go. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was pretty much the same principle. You know what? I actually think I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was. I enjoyed it more than Trolls, that's for sure. It definitely had a lot of passion and heart behind it, and a lot of the characters were really identifiable, and that's really all it takes for a movie to be good. I mean, you can have a movie about trolls, but if I don't give a damn about the characters, then I don't give a damn about the movie, because honestly, I can't remember any characters from Trolls. I can actually remember all the characters from Sing, so that really says something. And this movie had a really good message too, because it was all about doing what you love, following your passion, and not letting anyone else tell you otherwise. And I can respect that. So would I recommend this movie? Yes. Yes, I would. Congratulations, Illumination. You actually made a fine, fine film. Now, if you can just keep those minions away from me for a while, that'd be great. I know Despicable Me 3 is coming out next year, but less minions, please. Less minions. A lot less minions. Like 80 to 90% less minions. Just have them move the plot along and then get them out of there. And then we're cool. So if you're going to check it out, let me know what you think of it. My name is Rob, and have a wonderful day. The pig girl from the trailers, Rosita, is voiced by Weiss Witherspoon. Oh, God.